It's the one day a year I get to wear this red sweater. Any of you ever go to auctions? I love to go to auctions. There's something wonderful about going to an auction, and I can remember one in particular that I went to. It was in upstate New York where we had a lot of things with a lot of history. And so here I am at this auction, and over in the corner with a lot of other furniture that has been discarded, because auctions are often things that, unfortunately, we don't know what to do with it, but they didn't have eBay. To put it out in the yard, we'll have an auction. And I found this chair, and the chair was just coated with dirt. But I recognized that it was a mid-Victorian chair. It could have been a copy, but, I didn't know for sure. So I pulled it out, looked at it, but it was just so dirty. I bought the chair for 50 cents, brought it home, and with some boiled linseed oil began to clean the chair off. And it was all inlaid walnut, beautiful, absolutely beautiful chair, which was worth lots more than 50 cents. So why do I bring that up now? I'm glad you asked. How many of us are beautifully, perfectly inlaid creations, covered with ideas and experiences that have just made it very hard for us to know who we really are? And I think so often we look at the exterior experiences and the impact they've had on us, and we actually get to where we think that's who we are. We think we're the mistakes we've made. We think we're our accomplishments. We think we're our resume. We think we're our good intentions. And the core of who we are, in the very center of who we are, that which is the Christ, is often the thing that is least likely to be looked for or recognized. What I like about Christmas is that it's really a kind of health club for spirituality. Everybody has to put on their Christmas attire. Everybody has to start exercising Christmas ideas. Everybody has to start lifting towards something better than they have normally lifted. They get very tired. Sometimes they complain. They say, I can't do this very often or for very long. And about midway into the exercise program, they spontaneously start singing carols. They notice that things aren't as heavy as they were before. And it's wonderful for us to have the spiritual exercise program that allows us, if we would choose to have it be a launch for the rest of the year. It would be wonderful if after January you continue to say, Merry Christmas. You might have to get into some treatment for that, but the whole idea that we are that person inside all year long, and we only speak to it often in very, very short intervals. And we even mask that often, unfortunately, with the commercialism and, the commercialism to the point where Santa Claus's outfit, some of you probably know this, wasn't red originally, but it became red when Coca-Cola said it will be red. And so it's the Coca-Cola red. And so this veneer of commercialism is kind of like the veneer of life that keeps us from who we are and not noticing the perfection. When I cleaned this chair off and I reupholstered it and set it up, people would come in and say, oh, that's a beautiful chair. Where did you find a chair like that? And basically what I had to say was, I found it thrown away. And what I've noticed is that we often spend a great deal of time throwing ourselves away. And we don't want to do that anymore. We want to really pick ourselves up and say, I may need some linseed oil, but I'll tell you, I'm an amazing person. I really am beautiful inside. And the first person that has to notice that is me. And I have to be willing to share that with you because I need to hear out of my own mouth that I am good, that I am somebody. And I have to tell you that you are somebody. Because if we don't do that, then Christmas has no value at all. Then Christmas is about someone else. Christmas is about something else. And so our job, if we were to do it, is to really engage in this exercise program just with so much more intensity. You really want to bring your sweat towel with you, because you're going to start to sweat when you start getting how good you are. When you start lifting consciousness and saying, wow, it's an amazing thing to see. Now, what is amazing to me is how subtly we can change and experience profound awareness. Tian has a yoga group on Thursday mornings at about a half hour before God gets up. And I finally got up and went to it. And this is what I did. I sat, I laid down, and I breathed. So that was it. And she talked. And I did that for an hour. And it was amazing. What I discovered was something more just by breathing and listening. And Reverend Judith and I have been doing a kind of breathing program now every day where we breathe twice a day. But there's been times we didn't breathe at all for weeks. Now we're breathing twice a day. 15 minutes of breathing. The dogs say, "You're going to go breathe again?" Yes. And then they try to annoy us so that we won't breathe. But just breathing differently. In this case, it's breathing a continuous breath. You breathe into the end of the breath. You go ahead and take in and then let out. So it's continuous. And what you notice is that most of the wandering that your mind does, it wanders between breaths. It doesn't wander in the breath. And just not allowing my mind to wander has allowed it to go places that I didn't know existed. And it's clear to me that there are universes within our consciousness, that there are places within our consciousness that very few people will ever get to because they don't breathe enough. And when I notice how easy it is to get to it, then I wonder why it's taken so long. But I think it's because we have a tendency to continually look to the outer rather than the inner. One of the most amazing things about this congregation is I have never been with as many people as are in this congregation that were inward looking. Most are outward looking. And that inward looking is the right path to be on to discover that which is the Christ in you. And when you discover that, you can just as easily lose it and then rediscover and lose. And really what we're looking at is how often can you connect to it and savor that and allow that to grow, rather than can you have that be a constant. You probably can't. I can't. I don't think anybody can. But that's not the message. The message is to discover whenever you can that perfection that is in you, that is you, and has always been. Now, a piece I like about the story, some of you may have read my article on Saturday paper about should we allow the city to buy decorations for Christmas, and I said yes as soon as we fed everybody, and then we can do that. But what I started the article out with is a major discovery, which is that even a major Messiah can be homeless.